you either go all in or nothing at all. And I'm smiling because I know this cycle so well. So in this video, we're going to dive into the all or nothing mindset, why it's keeping you stuck, how much it's costing you, because the cost of living in that all or nothing mindset is actually quite drastic, and what to do to start moving away from it. So let's jump into it. Okay, let's jump into the all or nothing mindset and why it's keeping you stuck. This is what it looks like. So if you're in it right now, or you're in one of the cycles right now, you will be able to totally understand how this feels. You're in that constant stop-start cycle. You build this thing up, make it the expectation so big that you can't meet it, or you think you can because you start to take action towards it, and then because it's so big and so far away from where you are right now, the inevitable happens and you burn out and lose momentum. Then that leads to feeling like a failure, because every time you fall short of this perfect plan that you build yourself up to and it doesn't work, it reinforces the fact that you are a failure. Obviously you're not a failure, but it's reinforcing this story that you continue to tell yourself. And then you end up avoiding starting any of the cycles because you know it's not worth doing, because you know where it's going to end up. So you're constantly putting that extreme pressure on yourself, which then leads to guilt and shame when you don't do it or you don't meet the expectation. And then this obviously leads to exhaustion, because you're constantly swinging between this intensity of the all and the avoidance of the nothing. Then it leads to the long stretches of inactivity, because all of this takes up so much energy and time, and it's just so unsustainable. So therefore, again, you believe it's not worth trying because it's too hard, it's too much work, it's too much effort, and you are ultimately not going to get where you want to be. You're going to be labelled or label yourself as a failure, and you don't want to sit in that guilt or shame, even though you're sat in that guilt or shame now because you're not doing the action that quotation marks is required for your worth. So that's what it looks like. Okay, and this is what it's currently costing you. Okay, mentally, time-wise, physically, overall in life, and deep down who you are. I'm just going to run through these quickly. You'll be able to relate to these if you're in this all or nothing mindset. You've got that constant guilt and shame, that relentless negative self-talk, that loss of confidence, lack of confidence, because the evidence that you're building is proving to yourself that story that you're saying to yourself in your head, that negative story. You are feeling discouraged before you even begin because you know where you're going to end up. And then you're living in cycles of self-blame, regret, and emotional exhaustion. Just reading that category alone, you can understand why the emotional exhaustion is there. Time-wise, you're wasting energy, starting over and over again. Again, going for that big thing, rather than building in slowly, manageable steps. You're using time and energy on the big picture, which never arrives. Lost years stuck in the same place while chasing these temporary highs and chasing the same thing over and over again. So you are feeling like you're making progress, but the cycles stay the same. Nothing ever actually ends up changing, and that is a continuous cycle year after year after year. Okay, I'm listing these out, and I'm saying these from from experience. This is literally the mindset that I used to live in. So I understand the pain that you're in, and I understand that you don't have to continue to live these cycles. Okay, so there's no judgment here, there's no harshness here. This is just like, I know what it feels like to sit in this, and I don't want anyone to ever have to sit in this longer than they need to. Delay in real progress because perfection keeps you from starting small. That picture, that vision of where you want to be is the only thing that's on your mind, and you can't see any other way there but an extreme way. And then the burnt time, the used time on planning all these things that have never actually take place. The physical cost of all of this is the burnout, the fatigue from these intense periods of time, and then the inevitable crashes. All of that takes energy. The inconsistent health habits that are actually harming the body more than it's helping it. Those extremes, like physically and mentally, and then those like lows physically and mentally, that constant state of one extreme to the other is causing the body this stress, emotional. Like it comes out in different forms for everybody, but ultimately it's causing stress on the body that doesn't necessarily need to be there. And then living in constant survival mode, and that lifestyle is again all or nothing, and there's no balance in there. And then we look at it in life and connection. You pull away from people because you feel off or ashamed. You've set this big thing and you haven't met it, so therefore that reinforces the feeling of like failure, not enough, not worthy. Hiding when you're not performing well because of that. Again, I'm only good when I'm performing. I'm only worthy when I'm performing. Feeling like you're living a double life because you're having to put on a mask, whether you're in the all, and you're having to put on a mask, or whether you're in the nothing. You're not sitting with actually who you are underneath the all and underneath the nothing. Never being present because you're always waiting to be at the point that you want to be at, but you will never get there because of the cycles. So you're never present in life because you're always waiting to be better. You've got to be better first. You've got to be here. I've got to have this. I've got to be doing this, and then I can relax, and then I can chill, and then I can be present. Because right now I'm not worthy and I'm not enough, and that will continue when you carry this mindset with you. So whatever you have in mind now for, oh, it's okay because when I get here I'll be okay, whatever that is right now, when you get there, if you get there, that will then change to be something else. And then the soul, staying disconnected from your authentic self. This is the living in the all, living in the nothing, not actually knowing deep down who you are, feeling like your life doesn't reflect your values or your potential, because deep down you know how you want to be living and you know what you are capable of, but all of this is not allowing it to flow through, and you're missing the joy of the journey because you're stuck in the extremes. The joy of the journey is in the slow, is in the steady, is in the process. But right now, all you can focus on is those outcomes, not the actual journey of getting to the outcomes. Then you've got that nagging in the back of your mind, knowing that you're capable of more, but you're stuck repeating the same cycles over and over again. So this is the cost. And when you look at it like this, you look at it as a visual rather than like the thoughts that just come in and out and you don't really get that clear picture of it. When you look at it like this is preventing you. This all or nothing is preventing you from actually living your life, reaching the places you want to reach. Okay, I'm making this video because this does not belong to you, and neither does this. You do not have to continue sitting with this, feeling like this. This is not yours to hold. You can let go of this. And this is how. Okay, understanding why you are sitting here and here. And once you start to understand and bring awareness to this, you can then start to take new action moving forward. So more than likely, you're afraid. You're afraid you're not good enough unless you're perfect. You've learned early on that achievement equals love. The in-between feels like shame, and therefore you avoid it. You've built your identity on being disciplined and high achieving. You use control to feel safe. You're terrified of being seen failing. Okay, so you've got to look into this and you've got to dig deep and understand why that is there, and actually that is not yours to carry. Okay, redefining what progress actually looks like. And again, with my journey, I used to be like, literally, it had to be all, but I never got to all because I would have already burnt out. So I redefined it and actually put in smaller steps, and the win was the small step, not the outcome. So redefining what that looks like. Practice the always something mindset. I was having a conversation with a client the other day, and the extreme that they needed to achieve to feel worthy was unattainable. And it is redefining that and seeing that actually having that is preventing you from ever getting there, because you're not taking the actual small steps that are needed. So on a day, for example, let's just take running, for example, you're trying to get to a marathon, and the mindset of all or nothing, okay, well, I just need to run as far and as fast as I can every single day to train for this marathon. Well, no, actually, it's always doing something, not always doing all. It's always doing something, so that consistency, putting in steps each day which are moving towards the goal, and seeing, for example, that all mindset is a walk. Oh, well, that's not good enough. That's not going to get me there. Well, actually, a walk is doing something, and it's better than doing nothing, because when we go back to nothing, we get nowhere near to where we want to be, because that all is attached to it, all or nothing. But actually something is moving the needle in the direction you want to be going, rather than the needle staying completely still or going backwards, or going so high off the chart that it breaks. Does that make sense? Make the uncomfortable, messy middle comfortable. And this is enjoying the journey. Understanding that there are going to be highs and there are going to be lows, and understanding that that is part of the journey, and that is okay, and that is not a failure, and that is literally the joy of the journey, is learning through the ups and downs, taking the information and then changing it. And a lot of people try and go to the end of the journey before the journey's even started. And that is what's causing the overwhelm, that is what's causing the disconnect, and that is what doesn't allow progress to be made. Choose consistency over intensity. I mean, we spoke about this here, about how going all and then nothing is actually more damaging than good. It's the same here. Intensity is only going to get you so far, and then allow you to like drop back and fall back in. If you was to do, for example, like run 10k every single day for like 30 days and then did nothing for 4 months, you're not getting anywhere. If you were to run every single day, different times, different places, different speeds, some of them are walks, but it's consistently, day in, day out, that is going to build up and compound. This is the biggest one, that negative self-talk. Catching this and reframing it is so important on this journey. I was having a conversation with a client the other day, and they were saying that they were tidying their room, and all of a sudden they realised how negatively they were talking to themselves. They weren't doing anything. They were literally just clearing a few bits up, and they were having a conversation with themselves, hating on themselves. Catch this, bring awareness to it, and reframe it. And you want to be reframing it as if you are talking to somebody that you love, with kindness and compassion. This is literally the thing that will keep you stuck. If you continue that negative self-talk, if you continue that extreme hatred on yourself, nothing will ever change. You need to bring awareness to it and understand that that is not a truth. That needs to change. That is the thing that is keeping you stuck. Bring awareness to it and reframe it. I cannot, this is literally the most important thing you can do for yourself. Breaking it down into the small, tiny, laughable wins. If it's too overwhelming, it's too big. It needs to be small and it needs to be enjoyable. Like, the journey is the beautiful part. If you are focusing on that outcome, if you are focusing on, oh, well, actually, this is too small, this is not good enough, blah, 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 there's no joy in it. The journey is the joy. Make it enjoyable. Make it achievable. Break it down into as small as it needs to go, and then enjoy it. Focus on who you are becoming, not what you are achieving. This means nothing. This means everything. Switch those two things round. That is the magic right there. Learn to live in the middle ground. That shouldn't be there. That is half of a number. That needs to go. Learn to live in the middle ground. So this is about living in the middle of the all or nothing. The all, the nothing, the black, the white. It's about living in the grey. Living in the grey is going to help you to achieve the all that you're looking to achieve, but in the way that is needed to be able to achieve. If you constantly live in the highs and then the lows, this is the thing that continues. There is no other way around it. This is the thing that will happen. But if you can maintain like a level in the middle ground and occasionally visit those highs, occasionally visit those lows, but come back to that middle ground. And I'll put a video in below. I'll put 2 videos in below actually. Process over outcome and the highs and lows, understanding the highs and lows. There's also a really great book on this. It's called Mastery, and I'll link that in the description below as well, because once you can understand how magic it is to live in this middle ground rather than the highs and rather than the lows, your life will drastically change. If any of this spoke to you, if any of this resonated with where you are right now, and you want to make change here, you do not want to continue to live like this, and you want to start taking action here, but you're unsure how to, or not sure if you can do it on your own, then I'll leave some links in the description below. Drop me a message. Understand that you do not belong here. You do not have to sit here. You do not have to carry this with you any longer. And this is completely possible.